Hey guys, welcome back to the Laker family, where the Lakers drop another game back to back. A very upsetting loss to the Detroit Pistons, 107 to 92. It's probably the most terrible, embarrassing loss this year by any team in the NBA thus far. You lose a nail biter against the 76ers in a game that you should have won, but you went in there lackadaisical during certain stretches of that game. And then you turn around and you lay an egg against the sorriest team in the league, the Detroit Pistons. Not only did you get beat, you got beat badly, embarrassed, ran over. No, Anthony Davis did not play. Does that matter? No. We showed no fight, nothing tonight. We played last night. Is that an excuse? No. The Detroit Pistons played last night. They came out, looked just fine. Yeah, they had their little drought here and there, but not to the extent of us. That fourth quarter was probably the worst, painful NBA game that I've ever seen. Like that has to be the most disturbing piece of an NBA game that I have seen, and I can't remember. That's how bad it was. I'm talking about, I want to say it was almost damn near the whole fourth quarter. We couldn't score a basket. We couldn't score a basket. We let the Pistons hang around. They know they're garbage, but you let them hang around, hang around, hang around. They're like, okay, well, damn, the Lakers don't want it. Let's take it. Horrible, horrible display out there tonight from the Lakers. Poor body language. Just looked tired. Looked old. You name it. Just shouldn't even got on the floor tonight. My thing is, especially about LeBron, I told y'all I'm not gonna really just go too hard on him during regular season games now after he proved himself in the bubble. But just like you can praise LeBron when he has good games, you can still critique when he's not doing well. And if you're gonna look as gassed as LeBron looked in that second half, you might as well. You might as well had. I would have preferred you take a load management. As much as I hate load management, I would have preferred you take a load management than to get out there on the floor and almost just embarrass yourself like that. Give the Skip Baylesses or whoever of the world, to have material to run with. You better off just sitting down. I understand LeBron is getting up in age. He does not need to be playing these back to backs, whatever the case may be. Just sit down. Sit down, especially if it's a back to back. Just sit down. They sat Anthony Davis down. You do the same thing, LeBron. Take your rest. You have nothing to prove, but when you do get out there on the court, you have to produce. If you are on the court, you have to produce, or you're going to get embarrassed. Kyle Kuzma did as much as we can expect from him. Good game, scoring wise, kind of all around. He had 22 points, 10 rebounds, decent defense here and there. He did get taken to the hole a couple of times by Jeremy Grant, but Jeremy Grant didn't have one of his good games. He's been playing lights out this year, so holding Jeremy Grant to 14 points was nothing to sneeze at. It just felt like the buckets that Jeremy Grant did make were impactful buckets. It kind of like put nail in the coffin type of buckets. Wayne Ellington shooting lights out. I think he's leading the league this year, or he's second or third in 3-point percentage. And it showed tonight. The guy was just completely wet from three. We did nothing to slow that down. And it's time to call out Frank Vogel. It's time. Frank Vogel has deserved a ton of credit for the elite defense that he has this team playing. But on the offensive side of the ball, especially in games like this, when we're looking for an offensive punch, some type of juice, somebody to ignite us offensively, he puts these horrible lineups out there. I think it was I can't remember. It was like in the beginning of the fourth quarter or the end of the third quarter, or something like that. When he sat LeBron James down, and then he sat Kyle Kuzma down as well as THT. What was that? What type of what were you thinking? Like, what were you expecting to gain from that in a tight ball game at the time, with no real playmakers out there on the floor? I don't even think Dennis Schroeder was out there during that time. So I'm looking like, what the hell is Frank Vogel doing? Then, to make matters worse, THT, only 14 minutes, had 13 points, made all of his made all three of his 3-pointers, putting pressure on the Pistons. Whenever he got the ball and got the green light to ISO or do whatever he needed to do, he made plays. Only got 14 minutes. How he only got 14 minutes is beyond me, guys. I'm trying to talk as calm as I can. Because these back-to-back losses could have easily been dubs. They could have been W's. With some tweaking here or there and some different lineups here and there. And it's it's still early in the season, but you just hate to see embarrassing stuff like this. Do smart people really think that the Lakers aren't still the favorite, or at least a top 3 team, because they lost to the Pistons? No, if you are smart, you know the Lakers are still a top 3 team in this league, and more than likely championship favorites. But we're not playing like it. We're not playing like it. I mean, you got Anthony Davis up and down with his offense. I'm glad he took this night off so he can rest up for the Celtics game. He's going to be more. That game is, to me, is more of a barometer type of game than this Pistons game, which it was somewhat of a trap game, but still at the same time, it could have been a game that we could have used to get back on solid footing. We could have just swept them under the rug, threw that team in the trash and been done with it. That's a dub in the bag. Okay, let's start stacking back on top of wins again. But instead, we went in there and basically it was a trap game. It was a trap game on top of us just looking lazy, slow, and tired. So I don't want to hear that excuse because the Pistons played a back-to-back. Yeah, they're younger, but still, we have more talent. We have more talent even without Anthony Davis. We have more talent. So there was no excuse to that. But Frank Vogel has to start to get called out a little bit more here for his ineptitude with THT. I don't know, whatever it is. It almost feels like how Luke Walton was treating Kyle Kuzma. He would pull him whenever the kid got hot, stuff like that. I don't know what it was. He just had something against Kuz. And then it was the coach we had before that with D'Lo, Byron Scott. He had some little issue, some personal vendetta, whatever it was, with D'Lo that went beyond the basketball side of things, where everybody could clearly see that D'Lo had great potential, and he was just messing with the kid's head, pulling him and sitting him on the bench or whatever We don't need that. We don't need that stuff now. The kid clearly has talent, and you only play him 14 minutes in a close ball game where we clearly needed offensive scoring. By the time he did put him back in there, in that fourth quarter, THT was in there when the Lakers went on that drought. LeBron was in there too, but it was more of a LeBron-centric type of offense during their time span. Everything was kind of going through LeBron, trying to set guys up, cutters, or dishing out to open three-pointers that were just clanked off the rim. But if you give THT more minutes and you give him more green light opportunities, you saw what the kid can do. Put the ball in his hand more. Let him create more. Let him be more of a let him have more of a responsibility on the offensive side of the ball. And you got other guys that need to be called out, but they're not being called out, but yet they're being rewarded more minutes. Morris, what the hell is he being rewarded more minutes for? It's time for you to start getting called out. You're not doing enough. And you haven't been doing enough. We need more from you, Morris. Wesley Matthews, we need more from you. But yet you get more minutes than THT. Throwing up bricks. Going 1 for 5 from the field. Getting schooled on the defensive end of the floor. We got to do better. I mean, you got guys that's kind of been on the skid. Caldwell Pope, Dennis Schroeder, they've been on a 2 or 3, game skid where they're kind of on the downturn. Montrezl Harrell too. Last 2 or 3 games kind of been on the downturn. I think not last game, but the game before, I think he did have a decent game. But still, everybody in general has kind of been on the downturn. Anthony Davis too. Let's get this thing warped back around and get this ball back rolling. But that's all I have today, guys. Thank y'all for watching, man. And I'm going to see y'all next time. Peace.
Life in the fast lane, moving at the speed of life and I can't slow down.